Hey there, this is John Siefert. I am here in San Francisco at the Intelisys Channel Connect event, and I'm joined by Jay Bradley, who is the president of Intelisys. Jay, thanks for having us out here at the event.
Great to have you.
It's been a great day and a half here for me as I've been engaging with all of the attendees here at the Channel Connect event that Jay and the team from Intelisys put on. Jay, big theme has been the cloud.
Huge.
Here with everybody. Would love to hear a little bit of perspective from you on the position of the cloud from an Intelisys point of view and where you see things evolving.
Yeah, so we made our big move. We announced it at your show in Vegas. We announced the acquisition of the Cloud Services Coalition. Obviously very important to us in terms of being ahead of the curve with this pivot to cloud. It's going to have a huge impact over the next several years on what we're all doing in the channel. It's going to have a big impact outside the channel as well with carriers on the direct side. So we announced that at the show in Vegas and completed that deal in May. And basically what it gave us is, a lot of us have a build or buy decision about what we're going to do with cloud. How are we going to staff for it? Where are we going to get the intellectual property and the knowledge? Folks who've kind of been in the cloud for a while and been doing this. So that was one of our big drivers with the Cloud Services Coalition. They had actually been calling on a lot of our partners already and knew a lot of them. And it just made sense for them to join us, the opportunity to grow a little bit faster, to move quicker into the marketplace. So really the driver there was, look, we know this is happening. It's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day, but over the next several years, this pivot to cloud and infrastructure as a service and software as a service and moving things out of the telco room and into a data center, it's happening, and customers are asking about it. They want a cloud strategy. So with Andrew Preifogel and his team, we're now out talking to our partners about how they can help their customers make that pivot.
Yeah, interestingly, on the partner side and all the partners for Intelisys, how has their conversation with customers had to evolve and change based on this move with the cloud?
A lot of it is just simple education. I mean, so much of it is raising the educational high water mark so that customers feel like they're in a position to make a move. So that's a big piece of it. Beyond that, it's vetting of the carriers, who were the right providers at the right time. There's a lot of folks out there who, get a buddy and start something in their garage and say, we're cloud.
Yeah, right.
And, that's not necessarily where you want to take your customer. So part of our acquisition of the Cloud Services Coalition was, they'd already vetted a lot of these guys. And so, bringing the right education to their customer, the right providers to their customer, are two of the biggest factors. Beyond that, it's, they need to realize that they've been doing things in the cloud, all along, and that, maybe they have a hosted system. And so, years ago, they took their PBX out. And now they're saying, well, we're not an IT company.
Right.
Why don't we take the servers out? Let's and I don't need to pay people to take care of that internally and hire people. I'll have that outsourced.
Yeah.
So the conversations really are about, education, about finding the right providers, and that's part of what we're offering our partners as part of our cloud strategy, is to make sure we have the experts in-house that can not only help them sell, but can also sell with them.
Yeah.
And go out to these customers and be on calls and actually bring the knowledge that our partners are still learning to their end users, so they're confident about, the choices they have.
Well, and because for so many of those organizations that those partners are selling to, thinking about running more and more business in the cloud is actually a pretty big architectural change for them, right? If they're used to running things on-premise and now they're not running them on-premise anymore, they're running them in the cloud, that's a big architectural change. The other two things that sort of go along with that are, boy, if I am an IT person, do I get nervous if I'm not having things run on-prem and they're running in the cloud, number one. And then number two, if I am an executive, a CFO, a CEO, a chief information officer, whatever it is, inside the company, am I nervous about the security of data when it's running in the cloud?
Right, and you're right, it is different. I mean, I think what our partners are finding and the folks who have been practicing in the cloud for a while now is it's not necessarily the same group of contacts.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are some issues around job protection and that kind of thing for folks who are running big IT shops. you know, certain companies are always going to have private cloud, you know, opportunities, and they're going to need those people at a certain size. But for a lot of our partners, you know, the mid-sized customer, I mean, you know, at the executive levels of those companies, they really don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And if they can actually find, you know, solutions that make sense, yeah, you're not necessarily selling to who you were selling to in the old days. This is in some ways part of the big pivot that not only our partners are making, but also the end user customers are making. You know, they're looking at this from a number of different angles, not just as an IT product, but as a, you know, a solution to a problem that makes their company run better, you know, be sleeker, all those kinds of things. So yeah, no, it's a really interesting time.
I love that point, because we've been so focused on that creating business value aspect of Channel Partners, and working with all the partners that are out there to help them manage through that pivot, right? Help them manage through that change of conversation, because, you know, it's oftentimes a different group of people that they're talking to. The conversation's very different, right? Because you're now talking about business process and identifying critical assets in a company and those sorts of things. So bravo to the work that you guys have been doing to champion that with your partners. Last question for you, Jay. You know, master agents have gone through a pretty big evolution over the last 12, 24 months or so. Define your company in a sentence today, and then do me a favor and explain what it's going to look like 24 months from now.
Oh, wow. Great question. Yeah, I mean, today, in a sentence, you know, we've only just begun with this transformation, and the opportunities are endless. 24 months from now, I think we'll be much more in a production mode, right? So as we do the education and we arm our partners with the products, services, and knowledge they need, you know, that kind of describes where we're at today, and that's a necessary part of the transformation. You have to do that. 24 months from now, scaling, full production mode. I mean, Intelisys has been through so many of these cycles. There was the voice time, there was the internet came along, and there's internet access. You know, Ethernet comes along, and MPLS, and we've got gunslingers out there doing those things, and now we've got the cloud. You know, so in the channel, we've been really lucky and obviously really thankful and grateful that we keep seeing these cycles. So yeah, today is one of, you know, education and really getting on the right path. 24 months from now, as we've done with so many other product lines in the past, we're in full production mode and we're scaling. And that's the exciting part about it. I mean, you know, the partners out there that come to Intelisys, that come to this event at Channel Connect, they love it because they really get an opportunity to get up close and personal with the people who are making this happen. You know, not only the carriers, but the other partners, you know, around the country of expertise in these areas. They're watching more of the traditional solution IT providers come on to, you know, to our side and start looking at what the services are. So, you know, that's one of the big reasons Channel Connect is so fun every year. It's the big partner conference where we all figure out, okay, where do we go next year? And between now and 24 months from now, I see us scaling like crazy and getting into full production mode with our partners, helping them make a lot of money.
Making money, always a very good thing.
Yeah, good thing.
Well, listen, Jay, on behalf of Channel Partners at Creating Business Value Blog, thank you so much for having us here at Channel Connect, and keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.